So today we are going to have part 2 of our session about Jamat Khana Shinasi. So we are doing bits and pieces and learning to understand the concept of Jamaat Khana, practices in Jamaat Khana. So we'll go step by step and understand and cover any questions we have. So shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, we are starting this session. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Last week we talked about setting an intention. If you've heard me carefully, we did set an intention about talking about Jamaat Khana seeking his help. That was setting an intention. In this Ilmi class today, we are going to learn about Jamaat Khana. So this is how, before every action, we must have a habit of setting an intention. Remember, actions are judged based on intentions. So intentions are very, very powerful. We had talked about physical preparation, going to Jamaat Khana. Today we will focus more on spiritual and intellectual. And that topic is so vast that we will continue to talk about it. Believe me, we will continue to talk about it. We also had covered briefly journey to Jamaat Khana, greeting volunteers, service of Jamaat Khana, of Jamaat, before even entering to Khane, and then in the Khane, and then entrance to Jamaat Khana. So today we go a little bit deeper. Again, this is a review. This is the teaching of our Pir. Pir says, "Ejigat mahe jab aao tab hai zinda bulao. Fal amra puri pao shah Pir ka didar. Tum chet man mera." When you enter the congregation, say Hai Zinda. You will then attain the fruits of paradise, which is the vision of the Lord. Can you imagine just entering in Jamaat Khana, just saying Hai Zinda, the one who is alive and can bring us to life. Just Hai Zinda, immediately the fruit we seek is what? The Didar of the Imam, being with him in that paradise where we can have Didar. As a Mu'min and Salik, we seek his Didar desperately. Why Didar? Didar will help us become pure. All sins will be forgiven. When we have Didar, all the knowledge can be manifested in our heart. When we have his Didar, we become pure as if we are just born again. All what we need and seek and desire, it is in his Didar. So Mu'min and Salik is always desperately seeking his Didar and wanting to meet all the conditions which are needed to be fulfilled to come close to that light, to have his Didar. So what we are doing actually by learning knowledge, we are giving food to our intellect, opening up our heart. Listen to our soul's plea for Didar. Become so mindful that we understand and hear everything, realize and recognize everything. And that journey of Mu'min Salik is beautiful, because that Mu'min Salik is so tuned with his own soul that the vibration, the frequency connects to the soul of Imam. And it is all possible for Mu'min Salik. It is all possible for Mu'min Salik. What does it require? First, to learn what are the conditions and then work hard to meet those conditions. So inshallah, we are walking on that path of learning and growing. So this was simply a review of what we had done. Today we go further into deeper understanding of what is spiritual preparation and then what is intellectual preparation. To begin with the spiritual preparation, I would like to quote Maula Ali's saying. Maula Ali has said that hearts find peace in his remembrance. Our hearts find peace in his remembrance. And in today's world, when we see a lot of anxiety, depression, and worldly, mental health issues, worldly issues, there's so much of crisis all over going on that everybody is seeking peace. And the peace is nowhere. It's not in money. It's not in location. It's not in any kind of pleasure. It is only and only in remembrance. Peace is nowhere to be found. If one finds peace, it will not last longer. But what happens when we want to remember, Shaitan is at best distracting us, diverting us from focusing on the zikr. Through knowledge, we learn how to overpower Shaitan or transform that energy, which we call Shaitan, into higher energy, the energy which serves us. And if you were to ask me, there are stages or there are names of these levels given in Quran. Quran talks about nafse ammara, carnal soul, the soul which needs instant gratification, which we call in our Ghanaic language or in Farmans also, our Imams have mentioned Shaitan. In Quran also Shaitan is mentioned. So there are this energy which we call Shaitan. Shaitan can be insi, it can be jinni, meaning it can come through a thought in our mind, which we don't see, but it's a bad thought. It's a thought of, let's say simply, what we are dealing in our life, some worry. When we are sitting in zikr and remembrance, what happens, that thought, a particle of that thought comes to our mind and takes it away from our remembrance. So that is called jinni shaitan, invisible. And the insi is like people coming in our life, gossiping or doing things to hurt us or saying things or whatever it is. Whatever it is. What happens, we get stuck in that situation, in that time, in that person, and we are not able to stay in remembrance. So all these topics are covered in 40 days zikr. So I hope that you really pay attention to listening to those zikr, take notes. If you want to open up your Quran and look for nafse amara, the reference is 12 by 53. I would encourage you to open up your Quran and look for that reference, 12 by 53. It talks about nafse amara. It is a nafs, it is part of our soul actually, which always seeks in instant gratification. I want this and I want this and I will not be patient. Right now I want this. When we look at children who don't have any intellectual growth and learning and maturity, what will we see? They will throw temper tantrum. They just want it, they just want it. So an adult would not behave like that. They have to be patient. A Momin Salik's expectation is much more higher. So there is an adult who is civil, and then there is a Momin Salik. The expectations are much, much higher. So Nafse Ammara is a soul, like Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah gives an example in his Farman that if you are on a horse cart, you are having the reins of a horse in your hands, and you direct the horse, turn right, turn left. But how funny it would be if the horse is sitting on us and telling us to, go right and go left. We are humans, we are not animals. But when we become slave to our carnal soul, what happens to us? We behave like an animal. And the term is Janar Numa Insan. Insan, it is human, we are humans. But when we behave, when we get angry or when we get jealous, all those Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Maya, Hasad, all these spiritual diseases which our peers have taught us, those are, if they are in us, manifested, and we are following all those insinuation in our mind and our heart, and we behave like an animal, Imagine immediately the picture that the horse is telling us to move in what direction animal wants us to move. That is the example of a carnal soul, nafse amara. But when Momin Salik stays in remembrance, fulfills all the conditions, which I always say in classes, zikro ibadat with girya uzari, ilmo amal with girya uzari. So these are kind of, umbrella kind of sentence I say, but all these conditions are there and we will be talking about it in detail so we understand. Hearts find peace, satisfaction in the remembrance of our Lord. When a Mu'min Salik stays in remembrance, the carnal soul transforms into nafse lawama, the guiding soul or conscientious soul. The reference to that Quranic verse is 75/2. 75/2. I'm encouraging you to write it down and later open up the Quran so you can see what we are talking about has a reference to it and we can study ourselves. And then the last stage is nafse mutmainna, satisfied soul, which is 89/27. So to summarize, when we are talking about getting peace, we are actually working towards transforming that nafse amara, that shaitan, which always wants us to be distracted, not doing the zikr, and in that way he steals our peace, our calmness, keeps us away from our beloved, our Imam, keeps us away from doing Girya Uzari and remember him. So it is very important that when we understand these concepts, then we can see how these diseases do exist in our being. And when we are peaceful, calm, we can see how sinful we were. So we can ask for forgiveness. And the next time or the next day, we behave better. So we walk on the path of becoming human. It is only human who can walk on the path of becoming an angel. Animal is not a human. Animal is totally different. But we do have these animal instincts in us which we have to overpower. A child has no control over those instincts. That is why a child has to learn, follow the rules. But when we are adult, we are expected to be very civil, polite people. But then in our own families where we are comfortable, how do we behave? Are we those civil people? Are we Momin Salik? All these are very important principles which we do need to learn and follow if we truly love our Imam. So let's understand when we talk of zikr, and this is the slide which I showed in the evening class, and I got a lot of feedback on this. So I thought that I should show it to you to kind of review what we did on Thursday class about Gnan discussion, Brahm Prakash. There are lots and lots of questions surrounding Isme Azam and Zikr, and I hope that all your questions are answered in those sessions. If not, we will continue to tackle it in these classes too. But briefly, we do need to understand when we want spiritual and intellectual growth. Remember, we said as a human, we exist at 3 levels. We have a physical body, we have a soul inside us, and then we do have brain, we do have intellect. Therefore, we need food at all 3 levels. We need to be one in one frequency, physically, spiritually, intellectually, to come close to that light. And one way we are learning is zikr, meaning remembrance. Remembrance can be with Isme Azam. Remembrance can be with Tasbih. Right now we are remembering him too. But here in the Gnan Brahm Prakash, Peer has taught us very beautifully. Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. Sat meaning true, Shab meaning word. So the true word is actually a word. And the word is Yali, let's say. When we remember Yali, 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 we are doing a spiritual practice using our physical body. Soul cannot exist without a body. So we have a soul in our body, and that's why we are using our body to do this practice, which is a spiritual. Right now, it could be very physical. Yes, using our tongue and saying yali, 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 yali. But with practices, what happens that it elevates itself to get connected to our spiritual self. When a zikr is done with Giryavazari, it connects very fast. It connects very fast. So there is very great importance put on Giryavazari. That is why in Jamat Khana we say Giryavazari ji tasbih, morning and evening. There is a reason. Though we don't see any Giryavazari because we have forgotten the essence, sorry to say, and we just do lip service. So yeah, in the beginning, we all do lip service, no doubt about that. But it has to go higher and connect to our soul. So the spiritual practice is saying Ya Ali. But our Peer said, Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. That word is actually Guru. Now, when I look at Ya Ali, I don't see my Guru here. Why Peer would say this Ya Ali is Guru? The Guru is actually in understanding this Shabd, which is a personality, which is the Imam. Here, right now, we are saying Ya Ali. How to recognize Ya Ali, that which is word, will become true for us. It is true word, but not for us. It's just alphabets for us. Very physical, it's just alphabets. But in reality, there is a Guru hidden in this word. But for us to understand Guru, we need knowledge. We need to seek him with knowledge. If someone is born in prison, a child is born in a prison, and mom tells that child that, outside world is so beautiful. There are so many trees and colors and malls and games and ground and this and that. Child has no ability to relate, to understand what mom is saying. Until that child starts reading knowledge, books, to understand what is this world mom talks about? What are the trees? Probably you can see some pictures. And then through that child will have some imagination in his mind. And then he can think about things which do exist, but he's never seen it. When mom tells him, probably he likes to hear it. It is a feel-good kind of, always children like listening to stories. Feel-good situation, and they're listening and they're enjoying, and then mom finishes, and then that story is forgotten. That imagination doesn't stay. Why? Because it was very superficial, physical level of the storytelling. But when that story combines with pictures, ability of a child to read the words, to express what he's feeling, what he's seeing, what he can imagine, there is a growth. We are simply those children in the spiritual realm who don't know these things, So our mother keeps on describing in Ginans, in Farmans, I'm just taking allegorically this example. We want to think, we want to reflect, but there's nothing to relate it to. And we are seeking, I want to see that word. But how do I see it when I've not seen the pictures, or we have not seen read about it? So through this example, what I am building on, that we do need knowledge. We do have intellect, and our faith is based on intellect. When we use our akal in this direction, then only we will understand how this shabd is true, and it is Guru too. My Guru is Hazri Ma, who is 49th Imam, Shah Karim Hussain. Why do I need to say Ya Ali, who was 1400 years ago? Someone will say, oh, it is the same Nur. Tell me what is Nur. Show me the Nur. I don't know. All these questions can only be answered at the level of knowledge, intellectual practice. We all know that in physical world we have become successful because we have learned knowledge, we have used our brain intellectually, used our body to get success, and then we are successful, we are living our life physically comfortably. Have we done the same investment to learn the knowledge of spirituality? If we have done, well and good. The question in today's time is that if our knowledge is limited to Gnans, we do need to understand Gnans in the light of Quran, because we talked about it yesterday. Our age were such that peace gave us Gnan and briefly introduced us to the Quran. Today, the hukum of Imam, the light of Imam in today's time. We are children of this time. We follow the guidance of the Imam of the time. And we see in Jamat Khana, it is all about Quran. So today, the expectations from Mu'mineen, Ismailis, is that we do need to learn this knowledge, recognize the Guru in the light of Quran. And then when we read Ginans, we will see him everywhere. In Ginans, truly, I was saying to the other group that I feel such a joy that I see peers talking about Quran in such a words that we don't understand it, right? Why do we not understand it? Because we have never studied Quran. It is only through studying of Quran we will see how Ginans are also talking about Quran. Right now we live in a zone where we fear Quran because we think we don't know. Until we don't study it, we won't know. So the da'wat is, let's study it. Let us open the Quran to see these verses, whatever we talk about, and realize how peers were teaching us the same thing. We are on the balance. You know, in Surah Rahman, Allah talks about a balance which is high, exalted. Balance is very important, and we will be weighed on both the things. We cannot skip one or the other. Right now, if we are living only physical life, there is no balance, existence of this balance. This is exalted balance. This is only for those mu'mineen who seek. Now, there are mu'minins, and here I'm going to tell you, this may sound harsh, but it is true, and I'd say it based on the knowledge. Those who go to Jamaat Khana, those who do ibadat, but if they don't understand anything, it's not going to benefit. There is a hadith of Prophet Muhammad that the one who dies without the recognition of Imam dies the death of an ignorant. Ignorant are equal to unbelievers. Then the question is, are we not believers? Are we not Ismailis? How true we are as a Ismaili? What are our practices? Are we just doing physical kirya, physical following of the religion? Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah told us, teach your children deen, otherwise they'll follow jismani deen, physical deen. Are we doing that? Have we understood for ourselves? Then we can talk or teach it to the next generation. Where do we stand? So again, spiritual practices, remember spiritual preparation and intellectual preparation. That's what we are talking about. We do need to prepare ourselves spiritually 24 hours, please, 24 hours. Remember, that is the condition on a Ismaili Salik, the one who walks on the path. Those who are not walking, they are not here. They are happy at following the physical religion. Those who want to walk on the path, they will work hard to remember him every moment of their life, 24 hours. And then also seek knowledge to recognize the Imam, the light of Quran, Farman, and Ginan. Now, this is the Quranic verse I was referring earlier as a saying of Maula Ali, because Maula Ali has said that too, and it is in the Quran too. So I truly hope that you will open this Quran reference 13 by 28 and highlight this verse. And I have here the Arabic, Arabic transliteration for a purpose. Um, So for me, it is very hard to read this Roman English, but those who do not know Arabic or Urdu, they can look at these words, and I'm going to try to read it. Allazina amanu wa tatma'inul qulubuhum. Qulub, the word qulub here. The word qulub actually means here heart. But if we were to go deep into this word's understanding, it also means intellect. So qulub. So you know what I like to do when I'm teaching Quran, Arabic, I'm reading Arabic verses, I do tell that try and underline the words we know, highlight the whole verse, but then underline the words we know, and that's how we would know how much Quran we know, the wordings of Quran we know. So Kulu, we know qalb, it's heart, intellect. We recognize the word Allah. Allazina amanu, those who have believed. So this verse is only to those who are believers. This is not being told to unbelievers. Those who are believers, they are being told that you will find this satisfaction in your heart where bizikrillahi, in the zikr of Allah. Ala bizikrillahi tatma'inul qulub. Again the word qulub. So the translation here is those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah. Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. There is so much anxiety in Jamat. There are friends who do share, question me. And there is a beautiful zikr. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. There are so many zikr, but in context of anxiety, this is the zikr which is being told to be recited. But the point here I would like to focus is that in zikr, hearts find assurance. A Mu'min Salik does do zikr 24 hours. Let it be, we can call it tasbih, we can call it ilmi classes, we can call it Nurani time. It is all under the umbrella of zikr, which means remembrance. The objective is to remember him. No matter what, remember him. If we remember him, that means we are preparing our being to enter into Jamat Khana. Remember, the question was, how do I spiritually prepare myself to be ready for Jamat Khana? To be able to prepare ourselves to truly, completely benefit from the attendance of Jamat Khana, one prepares for 23 hours. For Nurani time, 1 hour, 21 hours, whatever you want to say, every moment, even while we are sleeping. Now you can ask, how can I remember while sleeping? A Mu'min Salik sleeps with the intention of remembering him. And Imam has taught us this in Farman, if you've read it. That time when you set an intention of remembering him, when you wake up, your whole night goes into counted as remembrance. So how benefiting it is for us to just by setting an intention when we are resting, literally when we are sleeping. Sleeping is actually called younger sister of death. We are truly dead. We don't know what's going on around us. But for Mu'min and Salik, the whole night is going in remembrance. And only that realization will give so much of peace and patience and happiness in the heart when we wake up and start our stressful day. The whole night goes into remembrance. and we will continue to talk about in detail. I would like to stop. I'm not done with this topic, so we will continue because we said we have to comment. We have to keep it, time control. Otherwise, we will go much longer. Let us just end here with this Farman Mubarak. So one of you can come forward and read this, please.
Salawat paro. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. You are human beings, therefore you keep such a skill in your hearts to become ideal day by day. Become like the angels. Don't make friendship with the wicked. Don't waste your time in futile talks. You perform ibadat bandagi. If you remain known with the path of the din, then you will rescue from the satanic trap. You are in the form of the human beings, and now you reach to the high status. The excellent facts are in the Satpanth religion to gain high reward for you. There are such and such fruits in my din. The eater will never go outside to eat the grass. But for eating such fruits, you should become pure-hearted. Nagalpur, Kutch, 25th November 1903. Please recite the Salat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Beautiful Farman. Doesn't it summarize what we've been talking about? And there is so much, like we can take a whole class discussing just this Farman. Inshallah, we will continue to reflect on this Farman. If we truly seek Satpanth religion, if truly seek the fruits which are in this deen, we do need to prepare ourselves spiritually and intellectually. Meaning we do need to seek higher knowledge, true knowledge. Staying with the time, today's time, if we were to eat those fruit, then we will definitely not go outside or eat the grass. There is so much information. Imam says first, there's so much of information. There are 3 levels. Today, if we just talk about the way we are bombarded with information, too much information, but knowledge is very limited, very limited. And in that knowledge, true knowledge is extremely limited. One has to be able to identify where is true knowledge and where is just knowledge. And then out of that, Tawil is very limited. As true Mu'min as Salikin, we seek the essence, we seek the wisdom, we seek the Tawil. The way Imam has said that you eat badam, but badam's, chilka, you don't ever eat the essence, mugs. Tawil is the mugs. Inshallah, we are walking on the path of learning the Tawil, but we do need to learn all the basic understandings and complete. Probably we do have understanding. I would not say that you don't, because we all are adult here. Wherever there are gaps, we need to complete those gaps and continue to walk on a higher level of knowledge where we seek only Tawili understanding to recognize the Imam of the time. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah.
يا المدات
Ya al-Mithil.
محترمة أستاذ. So I don't know, it's make me so humble and sometimes get emotional. How smiley सतपन जो दे बोलते हैं ना, तो ये सतपन कितना एक बड़ा नियामत मौला दिया आप लोग को, हम लोग को। तो ये इसका नियामत हम शुक्र से कभी पूरा नहीं कर सकता है, और ऐसा कोई वर्ड नहीं है कि इसे डिस्क्राइब करे इस नियामत को। बहुत शुक्रिया उस्ताद बुजुर्गवार to thank you so much.
Shukran Maula. So one thing which I like us to change in our language, right? Though we are learning, we never get emotional. Emotional is a worldly term, probably sometimes seen as weakness. We as Momin and Salikin, when we shed tears in the love of Imam, we are doing Giriya Uzai. I love my Imam, so I shed tears in his love, and that's my Giriya Uzai. Sometimes when we say the way Khairuddin was saying, he was shedding tears in his heart. You know, he felt Giryan. That's the proper term. So when we are learning, we need to know this vocabulary too and use the right terms. Because this is not a physical class. We are not learning any physical knowledge, and it is not a weakness to shed tears in love of Imam. So in Giriya Uzari, you know, if in Jamat Khana somebody is shedding tears because they felt overpowered or overwhelmed with somebody singing beautiful Ginan or something touched them, some vibration, and they start shedding tears, and what happens in Jamat Khana? Auntie sitting next to you. Beta, what is wrong? What is difficulty you are having? You know, it's like in Jamaat Khana, sometimes we don't even have freedom to express our love because people will judge you. I would hope in this group we all learn when people are expressing love by shedding tears, we shed tears with them. I love Mola Bapa too, you know. So we do Giriya Uzari Ji Tasbih, but tell me, do we see anybody doing Giriya Uzari? No. In fact, somebody does it, it becomes a problematic attention for them. So it is very hard to truly practice when we are surrounded by our friends or families who don't understand. Here we understand. So we become Giryan, and it is appreciated, it is welcomed, it is encouraged, because it is only Giriya Uzari which will give us this powerful speed of rocket to connect to him. So remember, I did say that when we do Zikr Ibadat, do it with Giriya Uzari. When we learn knowledge and it melts our heart, do Giriya Uzari. Because it is Giriya Uzari. You know what is the power of the tears? Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has said, and you will hear that in lecture, that do not shed tears if your only son dies. Do not shed tears if if your hard-earned money is lost. Do not shed tears. Tell me why tears are there for. I'm in difficulty, would I not cry? I worked hard and my money got lost, or God forbid my child is gone. A parent can know the pain of losing a child, right? Mullah says don't shed tears. So when we shed tears, when we are in difficulty, we are literally doing nafarman bardari. Nafarman bardari. Tell me, do we understand this farman? Have we not being nafarman bardar? A Mu'min and Salik understands this farman. Mola says that shed tears because you're away from the didar of the Imam. So how is it emotional? That is the best practice when we are Giryan and when we do Giriya Uzari. It is most beloved practice of our Imam, Giriya Uzari. So we do need to shed tears. And whenever we have difficulty, we submit it to Imam and shed tears to seek courage from him. Not because we have lost something. We are so weak, so we shed tears seeking courage.
Farman. I can understand the last two sentences at face value, but just the last, when he talks about this gift, if you could just explain those last two sentences or your understanding of it.
So let's read this. Mullah says the excellent facts are in the Satpan religion to gain high reward for you. High reward, in Quran, this term is used as Ajran Azima. We do say it in Dua too, right? Fourth part. That if we fulfill our bayah, we will get this Ajran Azima. azim reward, high reward, right? So there are so many in-depth understanding, but let's keep it very simple because we are walking step by step. Let's say we do understand fourth part, dua, translation, if not meaning. It says that if those who will fulfill their bayat, they will be given high reward. What is bayat? Bayat is being farman bardar of imam. We say tan man dhan, we have given to you, Maula Baba. So that is those who give, who submit tan man dhan to Maula, they will get high reward. Again, there's a lot of understanding which we will continue to gain. And then Maula says there are such and such fruits in my deen, the eater will never go outside to eat the grass. But for eating such fruits, you should become pure-hearted. So what Maula is beautifully explaining us, there are levels of understanding. Okay, so let's start from bigger level. There is humanity, then there is ummah, then there is smileys, and then there are those who are in knowledge, those who are salikin. If we are not in the knowledge journey, we are not accepted to become mustajib, we are not even salik. We are standing. We are happy where we are, following the Jismani deen. It is very important to say, I don't know and I want to learn. When we say that, immediately we say, I am learning to become humble because I don't know. Do you know, I just want to share something. Pir Nasir Khusro, right? Our Pir, who has made more smiley than Pir Sadruddin, right? Majority of our smiley today are followers of Pir Nasir Khusro's talimat. When he was Sunni Muslim and he was seeking, he was a seeker, and he meets our Dai Al-Mu'id Shirazi. You know what Dai says to him? What was happening? Pir Nasir Khusro was asking question after question after question after question because he was so desperate. And he knew Quran. He had read Tafasir. Do you know Tafasir is the understanding of all these Maulanas and Muftis? You know, they write all these Tafasir, and there are 300 or plus, 350 Tafasir. So many, and there are thick books like that. He had read it all. He had read Bible. He had memorized Quran. So he was very learned. I mean, if you were to talk about his introduction, he was a very learned person, scholar. And this guy, poor guy, dealing with him, and he's like asking question. And what he says, and Pir Nasir Khusro says that in a verse which I don't remember. Dai says, I will give you all the knowledge. One condition: seal your lips. Meaning, become quiet. If you seek knowledge, you're humble, become quiet. Because if there is so much of noise inside here, we don't listen. That is why we have one tongue and 2 ears. We talk less but listen more. So he tells him to seal his lips. And he says, I will do as you say. Because he was so desperate. And what happens? We do know what happens, right? He becomes pir just in one didar of Imam. And today, his followers are larger in number. And today, being Indo-Pak Smileys, what we are learning, do you know that? All this wisdomful Tawili knowledge is coming from Pir Nasir Khusro's tradition. It is by merging both the talimat, I can say Nachis is able to understand Ginaz. I never understood Ginaz all my life. I never understood Farman all my life. It was until I started studying Quran. It makes sense to me what Pirs were teaching, what Hazri Imam is telling us. I never understood it. When we are learner, when we are seeking knowledge, lips have to be sealed. Like, meaning we cannot constantly ask question, because there's so much of noise. We do have questions, definitely. But we do need to calm down, write down all the questions. And trust Maula, when we started this journey, we will get all the answers. And trust Maula, when we started this journey, we will get all the answers. Sometimes you see same questions are asked from one scholar to other scholar to third scholar. You hear that. And that is okay too. If you're not satisfied, you do that, or trust in Imam. If you have faith, Imam will give you the knowledge which will touch your heart. But for that, there are criteria. One of the criteria is to become humble. Decrease the noise here, open the ears. Listen more, reflect more, read more, re-listen things, write down notes, open up the Quran. All these are practices. Then only we will know what fruits Imam is talking about. In Quran, fruits are mentioned. The word fruits actually means ta'wil. Imam here is talking about the mugs, the ta'wil of our tariqah. Those who are leaving our tariqah, today it is happening a lot actually. Why? Because we live today in global village. We don't understand Quran. There are people who do want us not to be smiley. They have hasad from Imam. So what they are doing? They are deceiving Jamat based on Quran. Because the Ismailis don't know Quran, especially Pir Sadruddin's followers, right? We don't know Quran, and we don't know the Ta'wil. There are Quranic words which are so literal, if it is shown literally and given, proofs in such a way that Jamaat leaves the Ismaili tariqah. They don't ask Ismailis who know Quran to tell them the meaning of the Ta'wil, and they leave the tariqah. And it was happening in Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's time. In fact, if you want to know more, this was happening in the Jamaat. The Isnashri community were giving, if I'm not wrong, 5,000 rupees at that time in India to give to poor Ismailis, because Ismailis were very poor at that time, to leave Imam. So there were some who left Ismaili tariqah for material gain. There were some who had no knowledge. In today's time, it is because of the knowledge. Falsified explanation given of Quranic verses, and Jamaat who do not know Quran, they are leaving Ismaili tariqah. And that is why Imam is saying, if you have eaten those fruits, you will never go outside to eat grass. What is outside? It's grass. They don't have living guide. But unfortunately, it's happening. But for eating such fruits, you should become pure-hearted. The purity of heart is very important. And purity of heart is actually humility. It is actually gained through knowledge, by shedding tears. So all this is very, very important. And believe me, we are learning this slowly and gradually. So I do seek your patience. Our mind is right now yelling and screaming, give me this and give me that. But when we do that, it overwhelms our brain, and that's not also good. We are on the path, we have gotten connected, and believe me, all this is coming. Inshallah, all your questions will be answered. No question is in this world which do not have answer. Let me tell you that. Answers are already there, then question comes. Inshallah, all your questions will be answered. No question is in this world which do not have answer. Let me tell you that. Answers are already there, then question comes. So you just have to have some patience and faith, and I do encourage you to attend classes on Monday and Thursday and Tuesday if you understand Gujarati too. Because everywhere, Nachis is trying to give this knowledge in different ways, different contexts, different levels, different languages. The purpose is to continue to give this fruit to stimulate our intellect. So we continue to walk on the path and collect beads. We all are making a tasbih, a ladi. We continue to take beads and keep it, in our mala. And one day the mala will complete. Because Imam's mercy is with us. We seek his help. It is all because of him. All right, friends. Yali madad, yali madad.
Yali madad. Yes.
Yali madad.
Yali madad.